There is only one dharma. The concept of dharma has been given by our Vedam. What the Vedam says is Anukula is dharma. What the Vedam says Pratikula is adharma. Therefore, the only dharma is Sanatana dharma. Everything else is a pantha, a system of thought, a system of living, a system of understanding. So if somebody says be proud of Sanatana dharma, that is the point of your weakness. That is the point of downfall. Pride is your path to downfall. Be humbled by what our acharyas did and try, at least attempt to walk in that path. That humility is what brings strength. So that is dharma. To perform your rightful actions. Karmanyevadhikaraste. Perform your right. I don't think Bhagavan will ever accept me. That kind of shanka one should never have. Because the worst of people, the worst also, once you, Tvam eva sharanam mama, only your sharan is my abode. When one understands that, then he will take even them. Kaudinyavam savarvaridipurna chandram Srimadparankushabadamujabringarajam Rangarideshikavadaptashudeshikatvam Sri Ramakrishna Guruvaryamaham prapadye Lokacharyaya Gurave Krishna Padasya Sunave Samsara Bhogi Sandrashta Jiva Jivatave Namaha.
Srimati Apindravar Yogi Patapjidam Namishamana Shailamunivarya Daikapatram Vijnana Veda Shikotama Tattwa Bodhyam Ramanujam Kalijitam Munimashayam Mahashima Chakarya Trajakpavalamma Saumya Payantra Gaganadi Munindra Bhaktam Vedanta Siddhi Karana Pravinam Ramanujam Etivaram Guruma Ashrayam.
Jai Sriman Narayana. Because we are understanding Tattwa Jnana. We studied Chitta, and then Ishwara. And we differentiate each of these. And then we have finally arrived at Ishwara Prakaranam. And we are trying to understand the nature of Ishwara Tattvam. Parama Chetana. Bhagavan expresses the difference in these three tattvas through one shloka, through many shlokas in the Bhagavad Gita. And one such shloka is of importance because Bhagavan Ramanujacharya comments on this. And the shloka is from the second chapter. Actually, most of the commentary starts basically on the second chapter. The Prathama Adhyaya, there is not much commentary Bhagavan gives. Second chapter, the commentary goes like this. Natve vaham jatunasam natvam mene janadhipaha nachaiva na bhavishyama sarve vayamata param. So, what does it mean? Bhagavan says that there was never a time that if I say I did not exist, that there was never a time. If I say that you did not exist in the past, there was never a time. I cannot. Nanasam apitu asam. If you are not there, I cannot say you existed. Aham sarveshwaraha tavad ato vartamanat purvasmin अनादौ काले न नासम अपितु आसम. ऐसा कभी समय ही नहीं था जब हम नहीं थे. ऐसा कभी समय ही नहीं था जब तुम नहीं थे. और ऐसा कभी समय नहीं था जब ये राजा नहीं थे. So why Bhagavan says this? He uses shabda like aham, natve vaham aham. Natveva aham va aham jatu nasam natvam. He is tvam, you. He is aham, tvam. Janadipaha nachaiva na bhavishyamaha sarve. He is sarve. He ime vayam sarve vayamata param, us, all of us. Because Bhagavan uses aham, vayam, tvam, ime, sarve. This differentiates between the tattvas. When he says there was never a time when I did not exist and I will not exist, I will always exist, then he says you. So he differentiates between Jivatma and Jivatma, who is Arjuna, and Paramatma. The Jivatma and Paramatma, two different tattva. And then Bhagavana says, and these also didn't exist. He differentiates between the different Jivatmas are also different entities. It is not as if there is one Jivatma super consciousness and then there is one Parama. So even Jivatma are different and then Paramatma also different. So Bhagavana differentiates between explains the difference between Jivatma and Paramatma and then different Jivatma. Nityo nityanam chetanaschetana meko bahunam yo vidadhati kaman. Basically, that is the main essence of this shloka. From one, everything has come. Eko. So, all these Jivatma require an upasya who make sure that what sankalpa they do, it is fulfilled. I am that entity. Aham. Right? The difference between Jivatma and Paramatma and difference between the different Jivatmas. They are all different. Just by using these words, we are able to understand that these must be different entities. That they are not the same entity. Okay? I'm not going too deep into the commentary. I just wanted to mention that Bhagavana does explain the differences between the tattvas in our Shastra, by himself, not just through the Vedam, which exists.
But it's key that you brought it out, because even when we do it in Bhagavad Gita, we don't pay attention to the second concept of it. Right? We only pay attention to the fact that there was no time when you did not exist or I did not exist. That's the part that we pay attention to. But we don't pay attention to the detail where he differentiates between himself as well as the Jivatmas.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So we must be able to focus on that. Something that we must understand here at this moment, at this juncture, as we study and think about these different attributes of this Paramachetana, is that when we study something like Valmiki Ramayanam, which we can speak about a little bit later, or Mahabharata, why is Valmiki Ramayana a Pramana Grantham, where we can use it as a pramana for something we are trying to explain? It is because Valmiki Ramayana is in conjunction with the Vedam. Nothing in the Valmiki Ramayana goes against what Veda Bhagavan says. Therefore, it is the pramana. It is not a pramana, therefore it is a Veda Grantha, because it is in association. If you look at it does not say anything pratikula to the Vedam, therefore it is a pramana. The stambha, the moola stambha, the pillar, the main pillar of Sanatana Dharma is the Vedam. Not the Ramayana, not the Mahabharatam, not the Itihasam, not the Puranas, the 18 odd Puranas. No. As long as the Shastras are Anukula, which means it is explaining those concepts of the Vedam and do not go Pratikula, against the Vedam, these can be accepted as Pramana for our Shastra. It is so much so that if a baby, I may have mentioned this before, even if a baby says something that is Anukula, meaning it is if you bring that parallelly and you compare it with the Vedam, it agrees. The Vedam agrees to what the baby says. What the baby says can be accepted as Pramanam. And if Bhagavan himself comes and says something against or viparita to the Vedam, that we will again reject. Even if Bhagavan says something viparita to the Vedam, contrary to what the Veda Bhagavan says, we will reject even that. And what is the pramana for that? Buddha avatar. Bhagavan, out of one of the 24 avatars, one of the avatars, Buddha avatar. Bhagavana comes to reduce the himsa that was happening in that time. But for him to ensure that that the people reduce the himsa that they were causing, the violence, to reduce the violence, the upadesha that Bhagavana gave was Shastra Viruddham. He rejected the Vedam. He himself stayed as a Nastika, जिसको वेद शास्त्र में आस्था नहीं है, नास्तिक. Therefore, हिंदू सनातन धर्म के घर में बुद्ध जयंती तो होता है, परंतु उपासना कोई नहीं करता. बुद्ध भगवान को की पूजा कोई नहीं करता. सम्मान सब देते हैं, एवरीबडी रेस्पेक्ट्स बिकॉज ये भगवान, पर उनकी पूजा आराधना नहीं होती है, क्योंकि उनका जो उपदेश था वो वेद के विरुद्ध था. सो वेद इज द मूल स्तंभ ऑफ सनातन धर्म. एंड सिंस Valmiki Ramayanam, Mahabharatam and the other Shastra are anukula, they do not go against what has been mentioned in the Vedam, they can be accepted as pramana. Vedanta Jnanam. Vedas are divided into Karmakanda and Brahmakanda. So in the Karmakanda we understand how do you do upasana, how do you do karma, and how do you gain fruits of these karma. The end of every Vedam is called Vedantam. Vedantam iti Vedantam. The end of the Vedam is Brahmakanda. Upanishad has to be, that is the rule. End of the Vedam there must be Upanishad, talking about the Brahman, Brahma Jigyasa. Vedanta Jnanam Upanishad Pramanam. Vedanta Jnana is there in the Upanishad. Yeah? And to explain and understand the Upanishad is the Brahma Sutra. And this is the stambha of Sanatana Dharma. So as long as we perform our actions to what the Vedam says, that is Dharma. Any action performed viparit from the Vedam is adharma. Therefore, there is only one dharma. The concept of dharma has been given by our Vedam. What the Vedam says is anukula is dharma. What the Vedam says pratikula is adharma. Therefore, the only dharma is Sanatana Dharma. Everything else is a pantha, a system of thought, a system of living, a system of understanding. If those systems adhere to the Vedam, it is Sanatana, it is Dharma. If they do not adhere to the Vedam, it is Adharma. And these Dharma Shastra is, through these Dharma Shastra we understand Tattvam. And Tattwa Trayam is one such grantha, which is Veda Anukulam. Everything the Tattva Trayam say is Anukula, therefore it is Dharma. Ramo Vigrahavan Dharma Because it is dharma, it is the embodiment of Bhagavan himself. And the moola quality of Bhagavan is Satyam, Shivam, Sundaram. Satyam, Satyat. Therefore, this dharma from the Tattva Trayam must be Satyam. So it is not for us, even though it is a Tarka Grantham where we question and reason. Even if we do not question and reason, what remains in this text is true. Question and reason is only for us to understand it in greater depth. But even if we don't understand, we can still accept because it is Anukula, Vedanukulam. And with that, we move ahead from last session. आर्जव, भगवान जैसे सोचते हैं वैसे बोलते हैं वैसे करते हैं. कर चरण कृतम वाक, कायजम कर्मजम वा, श्रवण नयनजम वा, मानसम वा पराधम. When we ask for forgiveness to Bhagavan Shivaji, the Mahabhagavata, what do we say? Kara charana kritam vak. Through our hands, through our feet, by any form of action, and through our walk, and anything that we have said. Kayajam, from our body. Karma, through our karma. Shravana, nayana, jamva. Manasam, by thinking, by mistake. Vihitam, avihitam va, purposely or by mistake. Sarva me tat kshamasva. Please forgive all of these. Why do we say this? Jaya Jaya Karunade Shri Mahadeva Shambha. Why do we say this? Kara Charana Kritam. Why are these separate? Because as human beings, as imperfect entities, what we do from one thing, one part of us, may not be what is portraying on another part of us. We may think something and we may do something completely different. We may want to do something, but we may think something completely different. And then we do some, and the action that is performed is again in a third party. And therefore we say, I may have done something from my hand, knowingly or unknowingly. Therefore, I can perform action unknowingly also. But that is not how Bhagavan is. Arjava. Every action that he performs knowingly. Whatever he thinks, whatever he says, he does only that. And it is exactly what he has done. So, if Bhagavan says something, he is saying the Jivatma and Paramatma are different, and the entire Vivinna Jivatma are also different. In the Bhagavad Gita, there is no sankoch there. There is no sunshine. There is no point there where we can doubt. We need to doubt him because of the guna of Arjava. Bhagavan, whatever he is saying, that means he is thinking that only. That means that only must be. Then Bhagavan has Sauharda. वो सबका भलाई चाहते हैं. सुहृदम सर्वभूतानाम. सबका सुहृद ही भगवान है. We may not think good about everyone. Sometimes we may have anger against somebody. By mistake. Just for a second. कुछ तत्क्षण के लिए. And then we pacify our mind, say this is not right, stop it. And then we come back to our normal state of calm and tranquility. Bhagavan does not have such. At every given point in time, he is a Sauharda. Meaning, he only thinks good for everybody. He wants everybody welfare. Sabka Saath. That's what we have mentioned, right? साम्य. जो आश्रित आते हैं सबको समान रूप से देखते हैं. साम्य. ऐसा नहीं है कि कोई भक्त उनके लिए अधिक प्रिय है और कोई भक्त कम प्रिय है ना। जब भगवान दूसरों के दुख को हटाते हैं, उनके अंदर कोई स्वार्थ नहीं है. It is not, he doesn't say that I will do this, maybe I'll get something in return. Without expecting anything in return, he removes the dukham of Jivatma. क्योंकि भगवान परम दयालु हैं. हम कभी कभी दयालु होने का प्रयत्न मात्र कर सकते होंगे, परंतु भगवान सर्वत्र सदैव परम दयालु हैं. हम अज्ञान जीव हैं, वी आर अज्ञानी, एंड भगवान हमें शास्त्र प्रदान करते हैं. वेद भगवान को प्रदान किया है, वी हैव द वेदम. शास्त्र प्रदान किया, शासनाथ, हमें शासन करने के लिए कि ऐसे करोगे तो तुम्हारा भला होगा. Anywhere in our shastram, there is nobody forces you to do anything, to be very honest. The shastram does not say you have to do. It says if you do this, this is the result. If you do this, this is the result. You face the consequence of your own action. But even then, Bhagavan pushes to do something and then pushes less to not do something. See? In a sense that he wants something. He wants what? He is Param Dayalu. He doesn't want Dukha for Jivatma. भगवान माधुर्य भी है. पित्त रोग का नाश करने के लिए दुग्ध का उपयोग किया जाता है. You use milk. So milk becomes the upaya to ensure what? Good health. पित्त रोग से मुक्ति. But once the dugdha has produced the result, it has kept you safe. Mother's milk have a lot of the antibodies which she has created. Now the baby has now. Now the baby is also safe. You see, that's the idea. So you use this milk as a medicine to ensure that the baby is healthy. Once the baby is healthy, the milk is given as a fruit, as something to eat, to consume, to survive, as a phal. दुग्ध उपाय में भी और फल में दोनों समय मधुर है. It tastes the same. It is at both times enjoyable. Like I enjoy drinking milk. I give you a better example because nowadays people don't enjoy apparently drinking milk. But let's say honey, for instance. Honey is a sweet nectarine substance. Most people like it. When you have a sore throat, just having a spoon of honey is very good. It helps soothe your throat and helps you get better faster. And that time it is used as a upaya. But then once you are fresh and fine, you will still eat honey every once in a while because it tastes nice. It is a phala then. Phala अथवा उपाय दोनों में मधुर है मधु. वैसे ही भगवान even as an upaya to attain or that which needs to be attained as a phalam, he is always madhur. He is always prapya. That means animals, birds, insects, all of us, we all want him, want to attain him. That quality of him always being wanted, whether he is a path to something or he is the where you want to reach. He is always madhur. That quality is called madhurya. But Bhagavan has this quality where nobody knows what he is going to do. He does anything at any point in time, and even the greatest of minds will not be able to predict what he is going to do. He may do something and then he may suddenly do something else. Or what he may do, nobody knows. That quality is called Gambhirya. Bhagavan, knowing fully well all the papam his ashrita, his devotees have done, he neglects them. He neglects those papam. He tries and appears as if he doesn't know. He appears as if he doesn't know all those papam and he looks at them afresh, anew. That quality is also called Gambhirya. When you give something to Bhagavan, he'll only remember that. And he'll give you so much. For instance, when Krishna, Sudama, when he went to Bhagavan Shri Krishna and gave him a little bit of rice, one handful of rice, Bhagavan ate that handful and he realized fully well that at home, when he had just 3 grains of rice, he gave one to the wife and the other 2, one to the child, and the one that he had for himself, he gave it to Krishna. Whatever he had for him, he completely gave to Bhagavan. Sampurna surrender he did. Na? He basically gave everything he had to Bhagavan. Seeing that, one gulp of that handful of rice Bhagavana had, and everything that Bhagavana had, he gave to Sudama. So essentially, the त्रिलोक के जो नाथ हैं, भगवान नहीं, वो तो सुदामा हुए. कि भगवान ने तो संपूर्ण त्याग करके सुदामा को ही दे दिया. क्यों? क्योंकि सुदामा gave everything he had, Bhagavan has given everything he has. Right?
Yep.
This quality is called Audarya. Udara. Even after giving so much, he still thinks, I have not given anything. Udara sarva evaite. He thinks that the artharthi, arto jigyasu, artharthi jnani, these are still udar only. They are saying these people are only udar. Udara sarva evaite. Bhagavad Gita. He says all of these are only udar. I am not. I am more. What have I given? मैंने क्या दिया? भगवान कहते हैं कि ज्ञानी ही मेरी आत्मा है. My atma is the jnani's. If there is a jnani, that jnani is my atma. But this quality of Bhagavan to give everything and still feel that he hasn't given anything is udara, audarya. Now Bhagavan has this quality where the ashrita, those sharanarthis that come, they come with so much dosha. They have done so many things which does not befit a human being. For millennia, for billions and trillions of years. Yet very cleverly, he removes all these papas and only keeps the punyam. And those punyams also he'll remove and just keep enough for one life. Very cleverly he does this. He hides all these papam cleverly. This quality of Bhagavan is called chaturya. यह चतुराई को भी कोई नहीं समझ सकता. We can't understand this cleverness. Esoteric. Sometimes, when someone is coming to him, others may go and tell him that don't go, don't accept him. Prabhu, he is like this, he has done. He is this, he may have done. Don't accept this man. But Bhagavan, he is unaffected by all this. Even through these, he is very steady, steadfast, sthairya. And he is unaffected by others. He is very drid in his sankalpam. That those who come to my abode, I will accept him regardless. सब शरणार्थों को अपनाते ही हैं. So therefore, nobody needs to be in a position where they feel हम तो इतने पापी हैं, भगवान हमें क्या शरण देंगे हमें. I am such a sinful, heinous human being. I don't think Bhagavan will ever accept me. That kind of shanka one should never have. Because the worst of people, the worst also, once you, Tvam eva sharanam mama, my, only your sharan is my abode. One understands that, then he will take even them. This ability of Bhagavan to be sthairya is one of the qualities of Bhagavan. The examples of this is in, again, Ramayana, where Vibhishan comes for Sharanagati, Vibhishan Sharanagati. People say that, he's from the foreign land, he's a Rakshas. Don't trust this fellow. Bhagavan says, regardless, I'll accept him. Only he has the power, capacity. We don't have such capacity. We don't need unnecessary Sharanarthis. But Bhagavan has. That is the difference. That's why nobody comes to us for Sharanagati. Bhagavan. That's the difference. Bhagavan Shri Ram says, Apyaham jivitam dihyam tvam va site salakshmanam natu pratigyam samshrutya brahmanebhyo visheshataha. I may at any point give up my life. I may at any point give up this body. I may give up Lakshmana. I may even give you up, O Sita. But if I have taken a pratigya, whatever may happen, I will stick to that pratigya till the end. That is his pratigya. That ability of Bhagavana to stick to his pratigya no matter what is called dhairya. अपने प्रतिज्ञा से दृढ़ रहते हैं भगवान. हमारा क्या प्रतिज्ञा है? एकादशी में व्रत लेंगे, we'll take fast. Then afternoon 12:30, our stomach is rumbling, and then gulab jamun, 2 or 3 of them you gulp down, quickly pray, and then you're full. Maybe some of us are more drid, but even then, sometimes when you're sick, let's say in Ekadashi, still have to eat something, inject it in some form. पर भगवान ऐसे दृढ़ हैं कि एक बार संकल्प लिया तो लिया, खत्म. उसके पश्चात ये ना हो सके तो का प्रश्न नहीं उठता. दृढ़ है वो. Even the strongest of enemies, जो शत्रु हैं, उनको भी तुच्छ समझकर उन पे विजयी प्राप्त करते हैं. Even the strongest of enemies, he looks at them as they are so small, and then he overtakes even them. That is also called dhairya. Bhagavana is shura. What does that mean? Just like if, let's say there is 2 battlefields, okay, this side is your battlefield, your army, and that side is their army, who you are going to battle, going to fight. Just like a sipahi, just like a soldier enters his own army, in the same way Bhagavana enters the other's army and annihilates them. Try and understand, entering another's army comes with fear because everybody is going to kill you. Entering your own army comes with safety because everybody is there to protect you. But Bhagavana enters the other's army like his own army and annihilates all of them. That ability is called shaurya. Chinnam bhinnam sharair dagdham prabhagnam shastra piditam balam ramena dadrushur naramam shigrakarinam. Bhagavana he's so great that this is an explanation of how Bhagavan Sri Ram was fighting in the Yuddham against Ravana. So the Rakshasas are looking around and seeing, chopped up heads, chopped up bodies, all chinnam bhinnam. There are holes in the bodies. Arrows come and cut people, but they are not able to see who is sending these arrows. From where is it coming? And they are not able to see Bhagavan. Who is the cause of this chinnam bhinnam of our soldiers? The Shatru is not able to see. So before you see the man drawing the bow and releasing it, you see the person being chopped into pieces and laying there dead. This quality of Bhagavan, this strength is called Parakrama. Shuddha Brahma Parat Pararam Kalatmaka Parameshwara Ram. That is Parakrama. Bhagavan Ram is Parakrami. Whatever we want, Jivatma, whatever we want, he has enough to provide. Whatever we want. कामना जो हमारा है, वो कामना की पूर्ति के लिए भगवान के पास पर्याप्त कामनाएं देने के लिए है. Whatever we want, he has enough to fulfill. And he can. Whatever we want. The devotees. If we do want it. That is called Satya Kama. Quality of Bhagavana. To have everything. For instance, we can go to the shop. The biggest of shop. It may not have a Costco. Costco is big. Costco will still not have everything you want. Ask them for Janayu. If they have, that will be pretty good. But they won't have. Everything you want is not there. Nothing is providing you with everything you want. Except Bhagavan. Only he can provide you with everything you want. He can provide you with everything you don't want also. Satya Kama. Now we have to act upon some things, and some things come to fruition and some things don't. Bhagavan, just through his Sankalpam. Everything happens just through Sankalpam. Satya Sankalpam. Krutitva. Api kaschin mumukshah syat. मैं सृष्टि करूंगा. सृष्टि करते समय एक दो मुमुक्षु तो निकल आएंगे. उसके कारण सृष्टि करते हैं. कृतित्व. He doesn't want anything in return. किसी का तो भला होगा. He always wants to do good for others or for Jivatma. Essentially, others is our perception. It is all his. So don't, just for the sake of language, the barrier of our language, we say others and his. But it is all his only. We are all his. Paratantriyatva. That entity which observes whose everything is, that quality is also called Paratantriyatva. We are Paratantra. Bhagavan is Swatantra. This Krititva again has been shown when Bhagavan gives a Rajabhisheka to Vibhishana. Abhishitya Chalankayam Rakshasendram Vibhishanam Kruta Krutya Stadaramo Vijwara Pramumodaha. When Bhagavan was doing the Rajabhisheka for Vibhishana, he was feeling so happy from within. This upakar जो रूप है भगवान का, उपकार करने, and he feels happy while he doing it. When कोई चीज देता है, देने के बाद इतना आनंदमय होते हैं भगवान, उसी को कृतित्व कहा गया. परंतु हम जीव जो हैं, हम जीव तो पापी हैं. हमने अनादिकाल से पाप करते हैं, इसलिए तो हम यहां जीव हैं. अगर हम पुण्यात्मा होते तो यहां नहीं रहते अब तक. उसकी का तात्पर्य है कि हमने कुछ पाप तो किया है, उसके आधार पर हम यहाँ हैं. Some papam we have been doing for there is no beginning. We have been doing, and an outcome of that we are in this position today. And because of the Nirhetu Kripa Bhagavan Sriman Narayan, we are able to be in this position today. Bhagavan, if somebody Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam Yome Bhaktya Prayachati, even if he gives one flower by mistake, one leaf by mistake also, Bhagavan will never forget that. He'll remember, this fellow gave me one leaf. Never forget. This quality of Bhagavan, Kadanchidyupakarena krutena ikena tushyati, nasmaratya pakaranam shatamapyatma vataya. Again, Valmiki Ramayana. Kathanchidyupakarena, he will remember only the upakara that the Jivatma has done. Nasmarantya pakaranam, apakara he will not remember. Apachara he will not. This quality of Bhagavana is called Kritagyata. There are two, yeah?
No. She was writing, I just was telling it.
Oh. There are two words here, Kritagyata and Kritagnata. Okay? Kritagyata, Gya, yeah? Kritagyata is what I just explained. That never forgetting the upakara and always forgetting the apachara. Kritagnata is never remembering the upakara, always remembering the apachara. 10 years later, you did this to me, I will do it. So, yogi, not Adityanath, maybe he was, but yogis, the quality of a yogi is to be Kritagya. What is a yogi? The more qualities you try to imbibe from the understanding of Bhagavan, that is what a yogi is. Yoga is what? To become like Bhagavan. That's it. Communion. No? Communion with what? Union with the qualities of Bhagavan. You don't have to be union somewhere else. We are already in Him. Everything is His. भगवान इज ज्ञानंदयिक स्वरूप. ज्ञान कहाँ नहीं है? ज्ञान तो सब में है. आनंद भी सबसे प्राप्त होता है. इसका मतलब भगवान में हम ऑलरेडी, वी आर ऑलरेडी स्थित विद इन भगवान. परंतु योग का तात्पर्य क्या हुआ? व्हाट इज द मीनिंग ऑफ योग देयर? योग इज टू वाइब्रेट इन द फ्रीक्वेंसी ऑफ द गुणास ऑफ भगवान. The closer we are to the frequencies of the gunas of Bhagavan, the closer we are in union with Him. That is yoga. Yoga kshemya vahamya.
I think that one line explains the 16th chapter.
Yes.
Just be aware and be in close proximity of His attributes.
People ask, why should you know about these qualities? You're just trying to give him an ego boost. We can't understand an entity just as is. That is the limitation of our mind. Anything that we understand qualities. And based on the qualities, we recognize the entity. If you look at a bowl, you don't see a bowl as it is. You see a bowl with its attributes, and using those attributes, you say it must be a bowl. Jiddu Krishnamurti ji used to say, just look at a flower as is.
Yeah.
I have a strong feeling he was the only one who would see it. Because to look at a flower as is means the complete cessation of memory. Because the moment you see the flower, you will see red, you will see blue, you will see the shape. Nama Rupa, you will see. So the only way to not see Nama and Rupa is to be the witness observing it without the factor of memory within this mind. Only a point of observation. That is, after you become a yogi, the samadhi is what? To remove yourself from this physical body. Because there is no sammata as long as you are there within it. Because karma has covered you. Leaving the karma with the pranic body and coming out of it and seeing this existence as a witness. That's what samadhi is. So to be able to see this existence as is, because of the incapacitated existence of ours, and to find ourselves in a position where willingly we are able to bring our mind to focus and shut the mind, and then go to our higher intellect and shut that also, to be the observer of this body and mind complex. It has become very difficult. So what do we do instead? We realize that the Jnanandaika Swarupam has attributes. The Anandam that we are trying to find from Paramag Bhakti, Parajnanam, Parama Bhakti. But before that, just that Samadhi. Samadhi also brings Anandam, no? Because Atma Chintan is happening there. So where that Anandam is there, the Anandam has qualities. Various qualities are all Anandam. Because Bhagavan and this Jnanandaika Swarupam, we have explained to that last session before. Why did we say Jnanandaika? क्योंकि अचित में भी आनंद का अनुभूति होती है. परंतु when we say ज्ञानम, अचित में ज्ञान नहीं है, ज्ञान का अभाव है. तो भगवान ज्ञान और आनंद दोनों के स्वरूप हैं. So to vibrate with the frequency of the qualities of Bhagavana is much easier. Because Anandam is an abstract concept which we feel, but we are not able to bring to physical experience. It is a subtle experience. When we feel happy, an iota of Anandam may be within that happiness, because the happiness also subsides. So there is no Anandam there. For a moment there may be some Anandam, it is gone. So it is Maya. Vichitra Srishti Karatvat Maya. Remember that? That Maya. That it is so Vichitra that there is happiness for a moment, but it is gone. That is not Anandam. It appears to be Anandam. It is Anandam is eternal. Anantam. This quality of Ananta, Anandam, can be explained through these attributes of Bhagavan only. Kritagyata. अगर हम चिंतन करेंगे, we just sit down, close your eyes and just try and experience any one of these attributes. That is the path to Ananda. That is what each of our Shastram say. You read Mahabharata, there one of the first shlokas, the first adhyaya only. If you take any one of these 1,24,000 verses, 25,000 verses, just take one shloka, और इसी श्लोक के एक पाद लो, just take 1/4 of it, और उसी पर चिंतन करो, वही मुक्ति का द्वार खोलेगा. How is it possible? Because ज्ञान ही भगवान का स्वरूप है. महाभारत ही ज्ञान का स्वरूप है. We are just trying to distinguish and be able to decode this message that we have gotten through Shastram, through a Rishi, the Vibhinna Rishi that have come. Kathanchityupakarena krutenaikena tushyati. This quality is one of those qualities which will bring Anandam to Jivatma when smarati, when you think about. Uvadati, when you speak about. Pashyati, when you see. Right? When Maharshi Valmiki in his ashram and Devarshi Naradji came. Now Acharyas have a very Sorry about this. Yeah. Acharyas have numerous ways of explaining this situation that starts when the Mahabharata is when the Grantha, Ramayana, the Ramayana Grantha begins. When we refer to Ramayana, firstly, who are we referring to? Valmiki Ramayana, Kamba Ramayana, Bhanubhakta Ramayana, Tulasīdāsa Ramayana, Ramacharitra Manas. When we say Ramayana, it's always Valmiki Ramayana. Just for us to, the name of the text is Ramayana. That's it. Nothing else before, nothing else after. What does Ramayana mean?
Story of Rama.
Journey of Rama. Ayana means journey, right?
Path. 2 words. So Rama does not go towards himself. So those who read go towards Rama. Those who hear it go towards Rama. So Ramayana. Dakshinayana go towards the Dakshina. Uttarayana go towards Uttar. Ramayana towards Rama.
Journey towards
Rama. From Jivatma, journey towards Paramatma. It's a Shastra of Sharanagati. At every moment, every point there is Sharanagati in Ramayana. So when it starts where Valmiki ji is sitting and then Narad ji comes. The question is asked, why is Valmiki ji sitting and why does Narad ji come? Because there is a mat. Of course, we have a vast Guru Parampara, as you and I both know. And we have many sects that have come across. And each of our acharyas have their own bhava in understanding this quality of Bhagavan. So it is said that when Bhagavan Sri Ram sends Sita Mata to the forest, when she, with Lava and Kusha still in her belly, and asks Lakshmana to leave her at Valmiki ji's ashram. I told you there are 4 reasons for that, right? 4 reasons why Bhagavan asks. One of the reasons is that Sita Mata herself said that I would like my children to grow up in a hermitage, the rishis. The first reasons. I'll just give you in brief anyway. The second reason is when Dasharatha, in the Viyoga of Bhagavan Sri Ram, he gave up his life. Prana tyag diya. Parantu Dasharatha had remaining life. He said that the remainder of my life, let Rama live it. Because Sri Ram was going to live the remainder of his father's life, it would be inappropriate for his father's daughter-in-law, to be present while he was living the remainder of his father's life. The second reason. The third reason is that as a Parakrami, Bhagavan, Maryada Purushottam, he must be able to ensure that any action that he does not give a wrong message to society. And because of that certain message that came through from the Guptachar, he said that this is the best time. In this way, what Sita wants is also fulfilled. What my dharma is also fulfilled. What and how the gentleman has been feeling, that Dhobi, who basically makes the hideous comment, that it also gives a message to the larger audience, larger praja, that every action of mine can be reciprocated and that it will still remain as dharma. Because all of them were not there. They don't know how Pavitra Sita is. And therefore, that is the third reason for why he sent Sita to the forest. There are some other reasons as well, and इसका भी अध्ययन करना आवश्यक होता है. हम जब लांछन लगाते हैं किसी चरित्र पर, हमारा अज्ञान का ही अनुभूति होती है हमें.
Yeah.
So if we don't understand Charitra of Rama, I had a while back it was, and there was some friend lady, and it just so happened that there was a mention of Rama, Bhagwan Sri Ram, and then she said, "Oh, that man." So it took me by surprise because भगवान है हमारे, हम वो तो पूज्य वस्तु है हमारे लिए, उनका चरित्र तो हम पढ़ते पढ़ते बड़े हुए हैं. We have been listening to his greatness, and then we have been and then she said, yeah, he's a male chauvinist. These words are there in English nowadays, and this and that she was saying. So I said, so you must have read the Ramayana in great depth. You're like, no, I haven't read. Okay, so you must have read the Ramcharitra in great depth. So where are you getting these from?
Yeah.
So, correct. To be able to say something good about someone does not require much knowledge. कोई भी बात चलो, किसी के प्रति लांछन जब लगाते हैं ना, तो उस व्यक्ति को कि महाज्ञानी परमहंस होना है कि महामूर्ख परम मूढ़ होना है. परम ज्ञानी तो उसी को कहलाएगा जिसने शास्त्र का अध्ययन किया है. उसने नहीं किया तो बचता क्या है? अब यू ओनली डिसाइड. See, so Bhagavan Sri Ram is the Maryada Purushottama, उत्तम पुरुष. चंद्र वंश में उत्पन्न हुए. At that time, he had just sent Sita Mata to the forest, to her brother's house, Valmiki. Why? Sita is the daughter of Bhudevi. Valmiki was also born from Bhudevi, the ears of Bhudevi, anthill. Valmikasya iti. Because he was born out of Valmiki, Bhagavan Valmiki was born out of the anthill. Anthills are known in our Shastras to be the ears of Mother Earth. Therefore, he becomes her brother. And when the woman is pregnant, generally to give birth, they go to the brother's house. वो परंपरा है हमारी. तो she went. But that time, there was a sandeha, sankocha in the mind of Valmiki, who has been meditating and became Valmiki in the name of Rama. Ra. मेरे अधिष्ठात्री रा, भगवान. Mara Rama. When he saw Sita, Garbhavati, and Rama sent her to the forest at such a state and left her there was a small doubt in his mind. Why did this happen? Why did Bhagavan? I thought Bhagavan Rama was a parakrami. Every action that he did was dharmic from the Shastra. He never went against any maryada of a Purusha. So how is it possible in this state that he left Sita Mata in the forest? So there was a doubt. Is he? And at that doubt, Naraji will show up. When there is a doubt in a Maharshi, a Devarishi will show up. Maharshi, Valmiki तो हमारे ऋषि हैं, नारद जी तो देव ऋषि हैं. So when Valmiki ji came, what the word first thing? किसी से कोई चीज पूछना है, किसी से ज्ञान प्राप्त करना है, तो दंडवत प्रणाम करो पहले. You have to show how much you want that knowledge. उसको वो पूजनीय है. तपः स्वाध्याय निरतम. जो तपस्या और स्वाध्याय में निरत है भगवान नारद, whose whole life is in tapasya and swadhyaya, contemplation of Bhagavan. तपस्वी वाग्विदाम्बरम, जो विद्वानों में श्रेष्ठ है, विद्वान पुरुषों में श्रेष्ठ हैं, जो विद्वानों में श्रेष्ठ हैं, नारद. Praising Bhagavan, Narad. You see, you have to praise a little bit if you want something. Tapasvi Vagvidamvaram, वाल्मीकि मुनिपुंगवम, मुनियों में भी श्रेष्ठ हैं जो वाल्मीकि. नारदम परिप्रप्रच्छ, he asks, नारद जी, by saying this, पूजा किया, तत्पश्चात पूछा. आजकल क्या होता है, आचार्य के यहां जाते हैं, प्रूव दैट गॉड इज एग्जिस्टिंग. दैट इज द सिचुएशन नाउडेज. प्रूव टू मी नाउ लॉजिकली दैट योर भगवान एग्जिस्ट्स. दैट इज द सिचुएशन नाउडेज. बट आवर शास्त्र, इन आवर कल्चर, वी फर्स्ट गो टू आचार्य and we serve him. When and then that tyaga, that bhava is there in that jivatma, then you ask. So what do you ask? Narad ji asks, is asked by whom? Valmiki. Kon asmin sampratam loke gunavan, kascha viryavan, धर्मज्ञश्च कृतज्ञश्च सत्यवाक्यो दृढ़ व्रतः. एक तपस्वी वाल्मीकि जी, दूसरे तपस्वी देवर्षि नारद, तीसरे तपस्वी की बात भगवान श्री राम. उनको की बात पूछ रहे हैं. भगवान श्री राम सबसे बड़े तपस्वी हैं. तपोवन जंगम पारिजात, ऐसे हैं श्री राम. तपस्वी में तपस्वी भगवान श्री राम. यह तप जो है, तप, यही भारतीय संस्कृति का प्राण है. दिस इज द प्राण ऑफ भारत. भारतवर्ष is yoga pradhan. Anything outside of Bharata is bhoga pradhan. Our Shastra directs us towards tyaga and tapa. Everything outside of this directs us towards bhoga. How do we get more money? Our Shastra say that artha, using artha you perform dharma, that dharma leads to anandam, moksha. The thing here is, do adharma for artha and that will lead to anandam. That is the viparita jnanam. Artha must be used for dharma. If everybody essentially in a society are under the purview of dharma, then dharmo rakshati rakshitaha. अकाल मृत्यु नहीं होगी, कोई डूबेगा नहीं, कोई मरेगा नहीं. और वैसा था भगवान श्री राम का राज्य, राम राज्य वही ऐसा ही था. धर्मात्मा सब थे वहां. सो कौन अस्मिन सांप्रतम लोके, कौन है वो संदेह था. In his mind there was a doubt, and to clarify that doubt he asks, कौन अस्मिन सांप्रतम लोके गुणवान. सांप्रतम, इस समय, इदानिम कहते हैं ना, इदानिम, इस समय, at this moment, गुण से युक्त कौन है. सर्वसंपन्न जो गुण से युक्त है वो कौन है. कश्च वीर्यवान, गुण भी है, वो पराक्रमी भी है. भगवान के जो गुण है ना, उसी का व्याख्या कर रहे हैं. आई एम जस्ट ट्राइंग टू एक्सप्लेन द गुणस. धर्मज्ञश्च, जो धर्म जानते हैं, who know dharma, who knows adharma. Who knows dharma? Who study shastra, who study Vedam. Because Vedam only teaches dharma and Veda shastra. Dharmagyascha, Kritagyascha. Who is Kritagya? We just mentioned Kritagya. Satyavakyo, Satya Sankalpa, Satyavakyo. जो बोलते हैं वो सत्य ही है. ऐसा Satya Sankalpa is such a quality that if Bhagavan says something, all the Jivatma may try to go against what he is saying, it will still happen. There is nothing that can stop it from happening once Bhagavan has Sankalpa is there. That is Satya Sankalpa. Satyavakyo Drida Vrataha. Once he decides on something, that will happen. That only he will do. I just mentioned. Charitrena. Charitravan ho. Is it necessary for somebody to be Dharmagya and Charitravan? No. Dharmagya is anybody who knows the Shastra. But who acts on it is Charitravan. जो वो धर्म शास्त्र से जिनका धर्म शास्त्र से संयुक्त चरित्र है, जैसे वो थे वैसे. They are combined, they one and the same. चारित्रेण च को युक्तः, चरित्र से युक्त है. सर्वभूतेषु को हितः, सर्वभूत के हितेशी हैं. भूत क्या? अचित और चित. These are referred to as भूत. गुडविल, सबका साथ, सबका विकास, सबका विश्वास किसके पास है? भगवान श्री राम. चारित्रेण च को युक्तः सर्वभूतेषु को हितः. विद्वान कः समर्थश्च. विद्वानों में विद्वान कौन है? हु इज द ज्ञानी ऑफ द ज्ञानी. विद्वान कः समर्थश्च, और सामर्थ्य. भगवान का लक्षण ही सामर्थ्य है. कर्तुम अकर्तुम अन्यथा कर्तुम सर्वसमर्थ ईश्वर. सर्वभूतेषु को हितः. विद्वान कः समर्थश्च. कश्चैक प्रियदर्शनः. कश्च एक प्रियदर्शन. जो the trees, the forests, the achit, everything that exists wants to see him, and through this entity gains joy and merriment. Who is this? आत्मवान. जिसके पास धन है वो धनवान. जिसके पास संपूर्ण सर्व आत्मा उनके अधीन है वो आत्मावान. कौन है वो? को जितः क्रोधो. जिसने क्रोध को भी जीत लिया हो. Who has victory over anger. We have anger who is victorious over us. When we are angry, over. We have no control of what we say, how we say, who we say to, and when. So therefore we try and stay away from anger. You see. But Bhagavan has control over his anger. So when required, he will use that. That is also his quality. आत्मवान को जित क्रोधो द्युतिमान को अनुसूयकः. Prakashman, Dyutiman, who just shines, he's just radiant at all the time, and he is that embodiment of Anand. Who is this? Kasya vibhyati devascha jahataro shasya samyuge. And not only is he has control over the anger, when he does get angry, even the devatas start trembling. Who is this? 16 gunas he has explained here. So who is this entity is the question. To which Bhagavan Narad say, Rama. This entity must be Rama. Now it clarifies that this action of Bhagavana is also under the purview of Dharma. This prashna, what is this question? इसी को ब्रह्म जिज्ञासा कहा गया है. What is he asking? What is Brahma? ब्रह्म कौन है? That is the question. इसी को ब्रह्म जिज्ञासा कहा गया. Now we go to Vedanta again. ब्रह्म कांड के कर्म कांड के पश्चात क्या आता है? ब्रह्म कांड. वेदों का अंत. In the end of the Vedam is what? Vedantam. Through these Vedantam we understand Brahma. वेदांत ज्ञानम उपनिषद प्रमाणम. वेदांत का जो ज्ञान है उपनिषद में. This Vedanta have been interpreted by different acharyas. So Shankaracharya with the Advaita, Bhagavan Ramanujacharya, Vishishtha Advaita, Vallabhacharya, Shuddha Advaita, Nimbarkacharya, Dvaita Advaita, Madhvacharya, Dvaita, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Achintya Bheda, all explaining in their own way the meaning of Vedanta Shastra. What is Vedanta trying to say? Who Bhagavan, who Brahma is. This Brahma Jigyasa only they are trying to experience. They also Brahma Jigyasu. Just like Bhagavan Valmiki is asking. The Vedanta Shastra needs to be understood in a certain way. It requires certain formulae. So, that is given in the Brahma Sutra by Bhagavan Vedvyasa himself. Vedvyasa says that now you try and understand the Vedantam. How do you understand the Vedantam? It is just there. So this is how you understand. So he put sutra, the formulas together and says this you understand it this way. This is the way to understand what I have written. The first sutram is Athato Brahma Jigyasa. So the first sutram of Vedantam. Vedanta is what? Brahma Jnana. Vedanta is Athato Brahma Jigyasa. Atha Ataha Brahma Jigyasa. Atha Ataha meaning after this there is Brahma Jigyasa. After what?
After the studying of the Vedanta.
Yes. After the studying of the Vedam. After all the Karma Kanda that you have studied, you have processed, you have experienced, and now you are questioning, who is this Phala Pradai? Who is this person who is giving us the Phalam? So, Athato Brahma Jigyasa is the Pahla Sutra. वेद को पढ़ने के पश्चात भगवान कौन है इसको पूछा गया है. जब हमें ज्ञात होता है कि यह संसार अनित्यम असुखम लोकम, यह लोक अनित्य भी है और असुख भी है, इसमें सुख भी नहीं है और नित्य भी नहीं है. अनित्य है तो जो सुख भी अनित्य ही रहेगा, तो असुखम ही रहेगा वो. So that will remain asukham only. Once a jivatma understands anityam asukham lokam, see, and then you enter the realm of what you call in English as spiritual enlightenment. Enlightened, what is enlightened? प्रकाश भगवान का ही स्वरूप है. भगवान का नाम ही प्रकाश है.
Yeah.
Enlightened is to switch on the light. When you switch on the light outside, is exlightened. When you switch it on within you, it's enlightened. The Jyoti, kiski Jyoti? Jnana Jyoti. Jyoti is light. Jnana Prakash. And therefore, when you shine that light within, because the Atma is within, and you understand this world through your Atma, and therefore you realize that without anything outside of this Atma, because of karma and maya, is anitya and asukha. So let me look within. You see within the Atma, Paramatma. Nityam Sarva Sukham Paramatma. And that is the path through which this text, Tattwa Trayam, is trying to take us. By understanding the Atma, understanding what was there around what was there around which was Anitya and Asukha, and trying to push us within, which is Kartum Manyatha Kartum, Akartum Sarva Samartha, Sarva Anandah, Sarva Samartha, Sarve Vyapya Ishwara. And with that, we'll call it an evening today. If you have any questions, and I am able, Das is able to answer, he will try.
Also,
Not question, but the dharma. There's a lot of conversations on dharma, right? Everybody's trying to understand what is dharma, and and we're all like, what is my dharma? How do I follow it? And yeah, it is whatever is listed in the Vedams, but then our Puranas, our Itihasas, like you said, questioning Rama's actions or Krishna's actions, that confuses people, and then they're like, oh, am I following dharma or am I not following dharma? I've had a lot of conversations on this with other bhaktas, and what I told them, or what I said my understanding is dharma is what the Lord decides, right? Yes, he has given Vedas as a guidebook for us to follow it, but whatever he does and whatever he wants is dharma. So when we have that as the definition of dharma, and not go looking for it in terms of, like a book or a more spiritual endeavor of what is my dharma, am I following dharma, or what am I supposed to be doing, right? And again, it all comes back to Sharanagati and Prapatti. But again, I work with kids, and I'm trying my best to imbibe that knowledge in them. But the Sharanagati part, how do we perform Sharanagati, or what is Sharanagati? We need to follow Dharma, and that's how Sharanagati, or how do we explain what the Sharanagati is to others, or how do we follow that step? I think that's because that is our ultimate step towards where we want to go.
So there are two parts to what you said. So the first part is what is dharma, and the second part is how do I explain this dharma and explain that param dharma is Sharanagati. So let's tackle the first question first. What Bhagavan does is not dharma. What Shastra says is dharma. We must distinguish that very clearly, because Bhagavan became Buddha avatar as well. And because it was against the Shastra, when I say Shastra, let us understand, we are saying Vedam. Vedam is apaurushaya, meaning even the Purusha has not written it. So it is a forever existing entity. Vedanam. Therefore, in Sanatana Dharma, in our Dharma is to study the Vedam either directly or indirectly. Those who study the Vedam directly do it under an Acharya through Gurukulam. and in a certain way for a certain period of time, through which they imbibe the qualities of what is to be in a path of dharma, and to avoid those aspects of this world which are in the path of adharma. So if we ourselves are not able to study directly, we study it indirectly from those who have studied it, or from shastras which we are able to study. So Mahabharata is called a dharma shastra. It tells you what dharma is and what adharma is. Mahabharata. I told you, right? Yanna bharate, tanna bharate. It encompasses everything. If you want to know what dharma is, I'll just give you briefly. In our culture, every person that is born into a Sanatana Dharma has responsibilities based on the karma that they come with. That is called prarabdha. Based on the prarabdha, they come in the Kali Yuga for approximately 100 years. Performing dharma, they will survive to as far as 100 years. Not performing dharma, they may die earlier and they will have to come again at another time. When they are born into a varana. Varana is decided when you are born. Jati karma has to be done at the time of birth. So when you are born, Jati's karma is done by somebody of your own jati, which is your own varana. Jati just means group of people. Doesn't it? And then once you're done, you are in that varana, you must perform the duties of your varana. Yeah. Each varana have very specific duties for the protection of Sanatana Dharma as a physical entity on this world, and a guiding factor to come out of this world. So varana have two aspects. The pravritti margam and the nivritti margam. Remember, we spoke about this maybe a session before. So the nivritti margam and the pravritti margam have two different reasons for existence. One is to ensure the survival of human on this world, and one is to ensure that you come out of this world. Because you can only come out as a human being. That is the irony of our situation. Essentially, only that the only entity which can know itself and around and differentiate it from one and another is the human body. So the Jivatma must require a human body to discern these two things. And therefore we are born into such a physical body. So we must preserve this body. So the system which allows the preservation of these physical bodies, so that with different qualities of Atma, with different qualities of karma, they can take birth where and when their karma allows. For the fulfillment of their karma to attain moksha. Because essentially we want moksha. So it doesn't really matter where you are born. What matters is what you do after you are born. So the actions that you perform once the birth has been done is categorized as either dharma or adharma based on where you are born. Nowhere it says that one is better than the other. These are bhranti which have been inculcated by foreign sources to ensure that if there is a solid structure, it is very difficult to break from outside. But if you create weakness within, it will fall out by itself. So the creation of the weakness within is what they said as one being superior to the other. If one feels inferior to another, that is the point of weakness. But if one feels humbled by another, that is the point of strength. So if somebody says be proud of Sanatana Dharma, that is the point of your weakness. That is the point of downfall. Pride is your path to downfall. Be humbled by what our acharyas did and try, at least attempt to walk in that path. That humility is what brings strength. So that is dharma. to perform your rightful actions. Karmanyevadhikaraste. Perform your rightful action in your own varna. Your own dharma is to perform karma. What karma? That karma which the Vedam says you should. Ma phale sukadachana. It is not for the fruit of that labor that you do. That is why you say nishkama karma. That is the dharma. But even if it is not nishkama, it is still dharma, because it is not parat dharma. It is not the higher dharma, it is the laukik dharma. But it is dharma nevertheless. So it is still holding you. It is not allowing you to fall. Performance of dharma. So when we talk to kids, nowadays we appears as if we have to try and hide certain things and say certain other things to make them happy, so that they continue following in this path. Sometimes it is necessary, because we are not trying to hide, we are just prolonging when they understand, depending on their level of intellect. That's what we are trying to do. If we are hiding something from somebody, that is deception. We don't want to do that. Bhagavan doesn't like it, we also don't like it. So the kids should understand. Actually, the parents should understand. Because the kids, what will they understand? The parents should understand what their rightful duty is. Because they teach their children what their rightful duties are. Once you are steadfast in karma yoga, that is the first step towards dharma. You need to be steadfast. So when somebody says, it is not your dharma to do this, do whatever you want. If the Brahmana, they start, which they do nowadays. But if all the Brahmanas, all our acharyas suddenly decide, no, we can do whatever we want. कुछ भी कर सकते हैं. ज्ञान कौन देगा हमें? है कि नहीं? Because there are acharyas, I am able to learn from them. So who do you destroy first? The source of knowledge. That's one point. So they didn't, and again the misinterpretation is the Brahman is the source of knowledge. That again is a misinterpretation. Gurukul was the source of knowledge. They destroyed the Gurukul. Because Kshatriyas, Vaishyas also went to Gurukul. They destroyed the Gurukulam first. Then what do you destroy? The money. Destroy the cottage industry. Happened at the same time. You go and read the recent 200-year history, there's barely any. You destroy the cottage industry, the money doesn't come. You destroy the Gurukulam, knowledge doesn't pass. The one last thing you destroy the strength, the martial strength. Ban completely every martial community. You see any Kshatriya holding their swords, holding their weapons anymore? The best example is the Sikh Punjabi. Where are the weapons? Barely any are there left. The Kartal, here, there, somewhere you will see something. You destroy the mark. So what have you essentially done? You have destroyed this Varna and Ashrama from within. There is no knowledge that can be passed on. Therefore, today only Brahmanas remember, because those Acharyas were Brahmanas. That was their duty, to ensure that everybody gets the knowledge. So then only Brahmans, some of them remember there and they are there. And then 20 years later you say, these people only hold the knowledge to Vedantam. They won't give it to you. Shun them from society. Dravid movement. How many people died, we only know. What can you say? You see. Then we don't have any protection from anyone. Our dharma we are not able to perform. Because who are the protectors? No protectors anymore. Who will protect us? The army was there. Now army, anybody can go. Where is the dharma? You see, if there is dharma, that dharma will protect you. In the performing of these karma is our dharma. So when you tell children, you would say that performing of those actions which the Vedam says, Vedam only. With the Vedam say you should perform is your dharma. Performing of those actions which the Vedam say you should not perform is adharma. That's it. That is dharma and that is adharma. And if we ourselves are clear about it, we can tell people. Out of the 10 kids, 9 of them, let's say they reject. We don't like it. But one person agrees, no? One person likes it. Good. For that one person, you should teach dharma that way. Because that is dharma. That is dharma. There is no other dharma. You see? And once we are steadfast in our dharma, that society will flourish. Because the dharma is clear now. Every action that everyone performs within that society is clear. Through our karma, we get this physical body. Our physical body is used to perform karma. If we perform karma with kama bhava, for something in return, we will continue in this cycle. But as long as we perform punyam, we'll be born as a human being and get more and more chances to attain moksha. The moment one jivatma requires niskama karma is the way, karma yoga begins for them. Karma yoga is the first path to bhakti yoga. Then that pathway will lead at some point to moksha. Some will realize karma yoga and realize the potential of the physical body itself through Raja. Through Raja yoga, again they will contemplate on Bhagavana only, because that is the only point for a source of Anandam. And they will also attain through Raja yoga Bhagavad Prapti. But if we are born without knowing what our responsibilities are, we will be stuck. Like like the stuck gramophone. You'll be stuck. Because we are not performing karma, so we are not performing, we are not accruing punyam to be born again as a human being. And if our actions are basically papam, we don't know if we will be born again human and when. 85 lakh yoni. And because we don't know these things, we don't know the Shastram, we don't know anything, that's why we perform Sharanagati, the answer to your second question. We are not able to recognize what Dharma is, we are not able to recognize what Adharma is. We are not able to study the Shastra because there is no source where we don't know where we study from. There is no Acharya to teach us the Shastra day and night, we don't have the time. So what do? We perform Sharanagati. What is that? We say, I don't know now. I can't know, I'm not able to know. What I will do is, I am going to surrender to you, Prabhu. And because you are only the source of all this. Because you are only the source of all this. And you are only that which I am trying to attain anyway. Why will I go leeway when you are already here to be attained? Now, unfortunately, I don't even know how to attain you. That is the second point of unfortunate events. That we know we need to, but we don't know how. Now, if we need to know how, we have to go to the Shastram again. But we don't know any Shastram. We don't know any Sanskritam. We don't know any Devanagari. We don't know any Prakrit. So we say Satsangam. Through Satsangam, we realize, see, what is Satsangam basically? See, if I want to talk to someone, let's say I want to talk to, what is a public figure? Dhoni, Mahendra Singh Dhoni. If I want to talk to him, I don't have his phone number. What I will do is, I'll try and find people who go in his circles. So maybe some people who clean the fields, roll the pitch. And I'll say, if you meet, can you give him this? Or can you give me a contact of your superior? And then I'll be coming to their circles, and then that's Sangam will happen. And then finally one fine day I'll meet Dhoni because of that Sangam. Just like that. Satsangam is Sangam of Satyam, Bhagavana's Sangam. Through whom? Through the Acharyas. And from Acharya through devotees, the Bhakta. So when you come in proximity with Bhaktajan will direct you towards Acharya. And just go to Acharya and say, Sharanagati seems to be the way I want to perform Sharanagati. Prabhu, at your lotus-like feet, what should I do? And that is the Param Dharma. Once you perform Sharanagati on the lotus feet of Bhagavan Sriman Narayana through the Acharya, now Acharya, what he says you do, what he says you don't, what he says not to do, you don't do. That is your Dharma. Not what Bhagavan says, what your Acharya says. Charge, is it?
Yep.
So when we perform Sharanagati, because our Acharya is Acharya is Shri is Acharya is Bhagavan. The chain is. You pull one, the entire door opens. You see. So all we are doing is tugging on the feet of our Acharya. That's all we are doing. When we tug, the door is knocking. You know those doors which have that big knocker, and then you put this chain, and then you have some cloth in the end. You do this, and then the door knocks. Like that. That chain is there here. All you're doing is tugging on our Acharya's feet. So the door is knocking, asking Bhagavan, open the door, boss. I'm coming in. That's what you're trying to do. You see. And through Acharya Bhimana, you go to our Acharya and serve his feet. What does serve his feet mean? Serve his feet means the lowest point of that state of Acharya is the below his feet. We want to be as small in every aspect as possible. Just fall as small as possible. Melt everything that we have and surrender everything to him. And whatever he says you should do is dharma. What he says what you should not do is adharma. And that becomes your shastram. And through his proximity, what he says you should study, you try. What he says you should not bother with, you forget. And you start doing karma then. Then Nishkama karma starts. Because even if there is kama bhava in that karma that you do, because of Sharanagati, it is Nishkama. Okay. Because somewhere it will nullify within this life. That's the idea. Then Acharya will say, wake up in the morning and then do some Sandhya Vidhi. Something he'll say. Depending on who you are, where you are, when, and so. And that becomes your dharma. Sharanagati is the only way in today's day and age, in the Western world and the entire world, to be fair and frank, that the Jivatma has any modicum of possibility to attain moksha. Because if there is no dharma, how do you attain moksha? Through dharma. Dharma is what your Acharya tells you. And this will be the easiest way. Because the Acharya will tell you what to do. The Acharya will tell you what not to do. Just follow simply. So easy and simple. Generally, Acharyas are so benevolent. If they think you can't do, they won't even tell you. That is how benevolent our Acharyas are.
Well, it all makes sense, and I think being born and growing up in Bharat Desh, right? We are very lucky to have this knowledge and to have this path.
Anyway, we will discuss this further. I think you are getting busy. Yeah, I think so. You have to go somewhere.
I have guests come and
Okay. So we'll call it an evening. We will take this discussion further, and I will, without joking, will make some points. Okay. I know now it's some time. यो नित्यमच्युतपदां भजयुग्मरुक्म व्यामोहतस्तदितराणित्रीणाय मेने अस्मद्गुरोर्भगवतस्य देकसिन्धो रामानुजस्य चरणौ शरणं प्रपद्ये रामाय रामभद्राय रामचन्द्राय वेदसे रघुनाथाय नाथाय सीताय पतये नमः नारायणपरावेद देवानारायणाङ्गज नारायणपरालोक नारायणपरामख नारायणपरो योगो नारायणपरन्तपः नारायणपरं ज्ञानं नारायणपरागति. जय श्रीमन्नारायण. श्रीमते रामानुज.